Hello, 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 hello. Hey, this is Warren Redlick here with a live stream. We're going to talk about Tesla. We're going to talk about SpaceX. We're going to start with SpaceX. We're going to cover Tesla. We're going to cover Neuralink. In between, we're going to talk about some perhaps questions and answers from supporters on Local's platform, the Daily Lie, which there's a link at the top of the chat, and there's a link in the description below. Patreon, YouTube community channel members, they get to ask questions. I addressed those earlier. At the end of the video, we'll do a live stream chat. But I wanted to start just really quick. I wanted to mention, after this video, I am going to do a live stream video on the Daily Lie. There's a link in the description below. There's a link at the top of the chat. I'm going to talk about September 11th, 2001. A lot of stuff that is not something that is going to be popular with everyone watching. If you know I'm a libertarian, so I have libertarian views, so that's going to be a different conversation than what you're usually going to hear on September 11th. And I just feel like I need to kickstart and get back into doing some politics live streams on the Daily Lie. So that's coming next. We're going to do this for about an hour, and we're going to go to that after this is over. So let's start talking about.
There it is.
Let's start. Wow. This is watching a Falcon 9 launch from Jetty Park. I was there last night with my friend Justin Horn on the right, and that is his friend Yanni in the middle. This is her first launch of a Starlink satellite, her first in-person watching of a Starlink launch. We're on the pier at Jetty Park. It's a platform you can walk out on, and this video is about 2.5 minutes long. So this is, if you come to Canaveral and you need to get a day pass ahead of time online from Port Canaveral, you can walk into this park. There's a cheat code. If you're a woman and you go on a date with me, I'll give you the cheat code. We use the cheat code. But you can actually be in person, watch these launches. We're, let's see, we're about 53 seconds in, so we're going to start hearing the rocket. One of the cool things is the rocket launches about 10 miles away. So it's really, really special. I mean, you'll hear, I'm going to show you Yanni's reaction. This is her first time seeing a Starlink launch, any kind of rocket launch in person. She lives in Miami, but she's never seen a rocket launch in person. So it's really special in person. I'm still going. Like, I've seen, I don't know, 10, 15, I don't even know how many. I can see them from my balcony right here. The coastline curves, so I actually have a really good view from my balcony on this condo I'm staying in right now. So very, very cool to watch this. This was through clouds. It was a cloudy night, and from in person, you could see the clouds, and you could see the Starlink launch through the clouds. I'm gonna take it to Miko, and then after Miko, we really couldn't see the second stage. So, I mean, basically, this is it. I don't need to show you more than that. This is what it looks like in person, and it looks better in person than it looks on video. And then here's Yanni's reaction.
So what did you think of your first launch?
I got emotional, number one. Number two, that was really cool. That was really, really beautiful. Oh, you're videotaping.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It smells funny now.
I don't know.
So the smell was actually probably a nearby boat. You wouldn't smell the rocket from 10 miles away. So it's great in person. It's really fun to watch. About this launch, this is the 14th time. We couldn't see the booster landing. We were actually able to see re-entry burn. When you're looking out, we're looking out east, maybe east-northeast, and the rocket goes that rough direction. And hello, Alexandra. And hello, and thank you to the moderators, by the way. Thank you to Mark and Jim and Mark. And thanks to everyone for watching. When you watch a launch from Jetty Park, and I don't know if this is true from everywhere, but if you watch closely, what happens is you see the rocket go up on this arc that, you know, if you look at Elon's Twitter, you can see the arc. And at a certain point, MECO happens, main engine cutoff. The booster separates, or I should say the second stage separates from the booster. The second stage lights up and goes on. And normally when it's not cloudy, you can see the second stage light up. The second stage has one engine versus 9, so it's not as visible as the 9-engine booster. And there was some cloud cover, so we were able to see the 9 engines through the clouds, but by the time wherever the second stage started up, we were not able to see that rocket. But as it re-enters the atmosphere, it's near the horizon. It's about 300, 400 miles out when the entry burn happens, and it's about, 60 miles up in the atmosphere, and you're actually able to see the re-entry burn. And we, surprisingly, because of the cloud cover, I wasn't sure, but it was like it was beyond the cloud cover, and we could see the re-entry burn, which is the first stage, the booster ignites, I think, 3 engines to slow itself down before it hits the Earth's atmosphere. And I've seen reentry burn a few times, and that's pretty cool to realize you're seeing that like 300, 400 miles away. That's before it lands on the drone ship. You can't see the landing on the drone ship because that's over the horizon. You don't see the landing burn or the landing itself, because that's much closer to Earth. It's less than a mile off the landing burn probably starts less than a mile up, ballpark. So, anyway, that was cool, and it was the 14th. So they have launched that booster and reused it 14 times. So in your face to Thunderfoot and all the people who said that rocket reuse wouldn't work and wouldn't be economical. SpaceX is delivering satellites to orbit at very low cost, and they're doing it in part because of SpaceX's belief and commitment and engineering effort in delivering reusable rocket boosters. Starship's going to take that to another level. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Just really quick, Elon made a point. So Starlink just announced a partnership. SpaceX just announced a partnership with T-Mobile, where a regular cell phone will be able to communicate with a Starlink satellite in orbit starting roughly 2024. When you're out in the wilderness and you have no cell phone connectivity, you'll be able to text and maybe have limited phone calls using your regular cell phone because the Starlink antenna will be that amazing. Zach from Black Model 3, Zach is a longtime Tesla nut. I love Zach. Mentioned that he would like to see Apple partner with Starlink. And Elon said that they've had some promising conversations about Starlink connectivity. Closing the link from space to phone will work best if phone software and hardware adapt to space-based signals versus Starlink purely emulating cell towers. So what Elon is saying is what they announced with T-Mobile was Starlink emulating a cell tower, which is good. But if cell phones had better equipment to communicate with satellites, and I think there's some constraint. You can't put a Starlink antenna on a cell phone, right? It's not going to work. The Starlink antenna is much bigger than this, right? So that's not going to work. But it may be that there's some kind of hardware and software they can put into phones in the future that would make communication with the satellite better. I don't think that if this is going to lead to people to say that Tesla's going to make a phone or SpaceX is going to make a phone. Not going to happen. That's not something that Elon wants to put engineering resources into. But maybe if they can work with Apple to make it happen, that would be cool. Maybe the iPhone 15 will have Starlink-enabled hardware and software and really make cell phone to satellite communication better. That would be pretty amazing. Although I think what they announced with T-Mobile already was pretty good. The Apple announcement was much less impressive than what SpaceX is going to be doing, Starlink is going to be doing with T-Mobile. Because the Apple announcement was like, you'll send a text message and it might take 15 minutes to a minute for somebody to receive it, where SpaceX Starlink's connection with T-Mobile phones will be pretty much real time. It's just very limited. It'll only be able to do text messages and limited phone calling. So anyway, that's pretty cool stuff. Starship is advancing. This is an image taken, I think, from the ocean. I'm actually talking with friends about trying to set up a boat trip where we'll go out and we'll get this view ourselves. But you can see on the left of this image, you can see the Falcon 9 is at its launch tower getting ready to launch. And on the right side, you can see that the launch tower for Starship is being built, and they're making a lot of progress on that launch tower. This is what I want to go see. I was actually talking to somebody else. I may be able to get a tour and actually go in to the area where SpaceX's facilities are. I think that's a stretch. I'm not sure I buy it, but if that happens, that'll be awesome. And the top of the tower is ready, and that will be stacked. It's already on its way to be stacked. So we're seeing a lot of progress. That was today. Now, I screenshot that. Was like, 15 minutes before I did this, started this video. They're getting ready to finish stacking